Okay, today I want to discuss a subject that I very rarely talk about, and that's money. And the reason I don't talk about money a lot is because I don't believe in it. I know that sounds crazy to say I don't believe in money, but it's not the same disbelief as, space aliens or unicorns or something. I know money exists. And I know that that's what makes the world go round at this point. But at the same time, I wish we could all go back to a simpler time where I have a cow and I produce milk, and you have a chicken and you produce eggs. So I'll give you some milk and you give me some eggs and we'll trade. Because that made life a lot simpler. If you didn't have anything to trade, you worked for your meals. You worked for food. You worked for shelter, And that was a lot simpler because a hard day's work got you 3 square meals. Whereas nowadays, one person does a hard day's work and they can afford a couple, cups of coffee and maybe a Happy Meal at the end of the day. And somebody else works really hard and they can afford a Mercedes. And it's not fair because usually the person working for that $14, $15 a day is working a hell of a lot harder than that son of a bitch who's making $40,000 every day. I'm sorry, I've spent a lot of my life surrounded by people who don't have money. And I've seen the suffering of the homeless and the hungry, and I'm tired of it. So yeah, when I say I don't believe in money, I mean there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. Because yes, money might be a great thing for those who have it, but when you don't have it, well, you die. And that's not fair. It's just... Anyway, moving on. I read a newspaper article about this guy. We're going to call him Bob. Anyway, Bob. Anyway, sorry, my computer's acting up. Bob, he spends over $46,000 a month more than he's making. He goes $45,000 further in debt each month. And the reason for this is, number one, he's not making as much as he did at the height of his career, okay? When him and his wife broke up, the judge sentenced him, I guess, to pay $16,000 a month in child support. Why any child needs $16,000 worth of crap every month, I do not understand. But anyway, that's what he has to pay his ex-wife each month for child support. On top of that, he spends $9,000 a month on his own mortgage, $2,500 each month on food for himself, $2,600 on car expenses, $3,500 on clothing, $250 a month on grooming. I'm assuming that's haircuts, manicures, pedicures, waxing, I don't know. $5,000 a month he spends on entertainment. $1,000 a month he spends on his pet expenses. And then there's miscellaneous. So each month he is spending $31,154.76 on his own expenses, plus the $16,000 for his child support payments. The reason I'm making this video is I want to ask you guys to help me figure this out. How does a person spend $2,500 a month on food? Again, Bob is single. He lives on his own. He's divorced, whatever. And he is spending over $2,000 a month on food. My husband and I live together. We eat together. And our food bill at the end of the month is less than $500. it's the same with clothing. $3,500 a month Bob spends on clothing. My husband and I will go years without really buying any clothing. Like if I'm doing yard work or I'm at a job conference or something, like if I'm, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm at home and I'm working around the yard and stuff, I have older clothing that I wear for that in case they get ruined. And if I'm out working somewhere, like at a pagan conference or a job fair or whatever, there's another set of clothing that I have. But regardless, if something happens and my clothing gets damaged, I have more clothing. And unless I start running out of clothing and need, if it's between, okay, I have to go buy some skirts or I'm going to be naked, I go and buy clothes. But other than that, we don't buy clothes. Is that normal? And I think it should be normal. There, I said it. Like, I don't believe in buying stuff just to buy stuff. Alright, so $250 a month Bob spends on his own personal grooming. I can understand that. I can understand, having a couple of manicures, a couple of pedicures, maybe a chest waxing or whatever. And that does add up rather quickly. So that's the only expense I can really, understand. He spends $5,000 a month on entertainment. My husband and I, we don't even spend $50 a month going to movies and buying DVDs and stuff like that. Like, it just, to me, $5,000 a month on entertainment is just insane. Of course, all these expenses are insane. And $1,000 a month on pet expenses, again, for Bob. So explain to me, is this normal? Is this anywhere near normal to spend that kind of money each month? Basically, just without going into too much detail, what is normal for you for groceries, clothing, entertainment, and pet expenses? Like, what is your, what do you consider normal, I guess is what I'm asking. So, thank you for watching, and I look forward to your comments, and blessed be.